Morning, everyone, and welcome back to Trading Success with Cam Buchanan. Cam, good morning. Welcome.
Morning, Chris. How you going?
Very well, thank you. How was your long weekend?
Yes, well, I avoided as many chocolate Easter eggs as possible, but we'll see what the aftermath is of that. But hanging out with two small girls, grandchildren, was hectic on the weekend. So I need a holiday, I think.
I bet they
I
didn't
don't know
stay
how
away from the
parents do it
chocolates, did
full
they?
time. What's that?
They didn't stay away from the chocolates. Little kids, they love it.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of Easter hunts. They were just scoping all the Easter hunts that were on, Easter egg hunts everywhere. So, no, it was fun watching those kids. That's what it's all about, I think, those holidays, family time.
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
let's get into it. I know everyone's probably a little bit needs a bit of pump up after the weekend and firing up. So let's get right into it because we've got lots to cover, and I don't want to go over time. But this week, I just want to run through the news that we've got on this week because last week was a pretty quiet week leading into Easter. The volumes were fairly low, so that was to be expected.
Yeah.
However, the trading rooms did exceptionally well, considering the low volatility. So we had Chinese news on Sunday. The manufacturing news was up slightly, which is good. China showed good numbers. US had their PMI news last night, so their manufacturing news last night. One part of it was the ISM, which is one that there's another PMI that comes out. So this one of the PMI figures came out last night, and that was kind of mixed. So there was a lower number than expected, just slightly, and one of the other numbers was up, which is good. And if PMI is over 50, it's typically a good sign that the manufacturing side of a country is going well. So those numbers, both in the US and China, were over 50. So the numbers were good. US wasn't as high as what they expected on one of the numbers, but still good. So this week we've got a lot of manufacturing coming out tonight, Tuesday, manufacturing news in Europe. There's also jobs news tonight, JOLTS job openings coming out tonight in the US, so 12 a.m. Right on midnight. And then we've got tomorrow, we've got non-farm employment change. Wednesday, we've got non-farm employment change, which is tomorrow. And also we've got Chairman Powell speaking early Thursday morning at 2:00, so it shouldn't affect many of our traders. And then we've got, I think we've got more. So Thursday night we've got unemployment in the US, so at 10:30 in the pre-market. And then Friday night we've got the non-farm employment, which is generally a bigger news. So non-farm employment tends to affect the gold market a little bit more than any of those other numbers. That seems to be one of the numbers that seems to affect gold for some reason. So I said last week we'll talk about gold. We'll go into gold and show you what's been happening with the gold market. But that's a bit about the news that's been going on. So this week we should see the volumes pick up a little bit. It was quiet last night with the markets opening. We weren't expecting a lot of activity, but let's have a look at the charts. And is that coming up now, Chris? Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
All right. So guys, let's have a look at the US indexes to start with. So this is the S&P 500. Key level for this week will be this number here, 53,000. So if we can hold above 53,000, we can see this rally, I think, continuing. If we get below 53,000 and we hold below that level, I think we may go down and fill these gaps in that I showed you last week. There was a few gaps that haven't been filled in. This one here's that most recent gap that may get filled in, so we may see some weakness. Also, too, we've got we've come out of the lunar eclipse. We're coming up to the solar eclipse on Friday, so I'm expecting some fireworks in the market this week. I'm expecting some volatility, particularly with jobs numbers and things like that. You can see last week the volume had dropped off quite considerably, whereas the volume leading in those last few weeks before had picked up. So we've come up to some highs, all-time highs. We hit all-time highs actually last week. in the US. And so last night was a pretty quiet night. And you can see we're just holding below that 5,300 number. And so that's the S&P 500. Let's have a look at the NASDAQ, which is our next favorite index. So the NASDAQ, so I can see here I've got 18,500. I feel that's the number that's really important here. If we can get back above that number, I think we can see this rally continuing next week. If we struggle around 18,500, you can see we're actually moving down a little bit today. This is the open. We've opened here. You can see the market's just trading down a little bit lower. But you can see last week how choppy it was. And we did so well trading in these horrendous conditions, very choppy markets. So hopefully we'll get some nice trends this week. Particularly if the market holds under 18,500, I think we can go down and fill these gaps down here, which I think we showed you last week. The market was looking to fill these gaps. So you can see last week was quite an indecision week. Volumes once again have dropped off. So look at for support and resistance around those numbers. So 18,500 on the NASDAQ and 5,300 on the S&P. Now let's talk a little bit about gold, because we mentioned gold last week, and gold had an absolute tear last week. Let's have a look at the gold market. So this is the gold daily chart. So the gold daily chart hit all-time highs on, what day was that? Yesterday, I believe, we hit all-time highs. Market really rallied. I believe that's the right day. Yes, 1st of April. Yeah, after a long weekend, we hit all-time highs last week. So, on Monday. So last week was a fairly quiet week, but we could see it building. We had this big sell down on Friday. Volume-wise, we had increase in volume, but the market really didn't move. So we'd seen probably 2 weeks of solid consolidation around this box here. And you can see, we look at that sort of box, we broke out of that last night and we hit all-time highs. And now we've pulled back this morning, and it'd be interesting to see if this rally can continue higher. So there's gold for you. It's really moving. It's 2,300. Looks like we're not too far away from that round number up there. So
a lot of round numbers this week, where they're all sitting after the long weekend, a quiet week.
Yeah. And particularly with this solar eclipse coming up on the 8th, we could see some crazy market movement, and gold could be one of those. So non-farm payroll coming up Friday. Gold tends to move around that announcement, and the volume seems to pick up. So you can see the last time we had non-farm payroll back in March, early March, you could see the volatility in the market. We had increase in volume, and the markets really rallied from around about 2,100, where the market had been consolidating for quite some time. So got that real big breakout. So could be looking for some upside there in the gold market. This is the 4-hour chart. So you can see the 4-hour chart last night really rallied, yesterday really rallied in the Asian session, and we sold off a little bit. And this is where we're currently trading right now. But so that's the gold market is moving up, and also silver. For some people that maybe want to try and get their hand into the silver market, this is the silver trading at the moment. Silver's a little bit behind gold, but we can see silver has been rallying in March. I'll look at the daily charts, probably a good way to look at it, at silver. You can see silver's in a lot more of a range than what gold has been. Gold is definitely trending. So silver is lagging behind gold. So, if gold moves, silver, you would expect silver will follow that. So but gold seems to be a little bit more bullish. And I have heard that the Chinese central banks have been buying up gold big time as well. So that could be a reason why the prices are pushing up higher. But you can see there's, we haven't hit nowhere near all-time highs with silver, or recent highs anyway. That high back in March last year was around $27. So we're $27.60. So we're still well behind that number. But it looks, if you look at the stair stepping, the way this market's swinging up, everything's swinging up. The silver market is looking like definitely a market to play. Just be mindful of silver. Silver volume is very, very low. We don't get as much volume as we do on gold. So I believe there is a micro silver market, and it's called SIL 0525 is the current contract. The E-mini contract is the QI. So if you want to have a look at that and maybe use a micro contract, go and check out what the margins are. I can't quite tell you off the top of my head what the overnight margins are, but it could be something to look for as a longer term play if you're looking to hold a position in these markets. So that's, remember, this is general advice as well. So definitely anything can happen in these financial markets, but with market is looking like it does want to trend higher, particularly in those commodities. And we are in the back end of a commodity cycle. So we should see commodities all start to move a bit higher. Even the oil market's been moving very strongly recently as well. So I think oil's up around about $84, or I think it might have hit $84 a barrel last night. So it's good to see that there's some money to be made in the commodities as well.
It's an interesting, when you just look at that snapshot, everything's sort of, approaching all-time highs, hitting round numbers after a quiet week, and a lot going on this week in the markets as well. So it's all just sort of coming together for, as you say, potentially a lot of volatility.
Yep. So I think that's it for this week. Just a quick snapshot, but I think watch maybe a slight correction in the indexes if let those markets hold under those round numbers. But you can't be shorting too long these days against the bulls. We might get some fast corrections, and that's why the futures markets and day trading is so powerful. So we can take advantage of these big corrections that come into the market and profit from those. So once again, watch the volumes coming into the market. We see increasing volumes and some really big red candles on those smaller time frames. So like the 15-minute time frame, the 5-minute time frame. Then particularly in those US close hours, or those Asian open markets, we can take advantage of some of those hard and sharp moves. Excellent. I think we had I think the US market sold off quite heavily actually in the US market last night. There was quite a strong correction in the market. So if that's if the Asian market wants to follow what happened in the US Open, then we could see that continuing. Europe may continue maybe a day of selling. So we'll see how we go.
Fantastic.
Looks like excellent, Cam. Setting up at 11 o'clock. So I better go and see if we can get a trade on.
Well, best of luck. Thank you very much again for the update. And we look forward to speaking again next week.
Thanks, Chris. Bye, guys.